Hey, what's going on, guys? The Horror Man back with my first ever Fave 5 video. Earlier today, I mentioned I would be premiering 2 new video series to my channel. I already introduced my do-it-yourself double feature series, and now I will be premiering the other one. This will be called my Fave 5 series, and it will feature 5 of my favorite items from a certain collection. It will not be a countdown of sorts, and it won't necessarily be my top 5 favorite of whatever the category is, just 5 random favorites. For this series, I will also be open to requests, so if you'd like to see a Fave 5 of a certain category, just comment below and let me know. For this first Fave 5 video, I've decided to show 5 of my favorite VHS covers. Again, they are in no particular order, and they are not necessarily my 5 all-time favorite VHS covers, just 5 random favorites from my collection. By not simply showing my all-time favorite 5 for specific categories, it allows me the opportunity to return and show more from that same category. So for now, here are some of my random Fave 5 VHS covers. First up is one I showed not too long ago. This is Bruce Lee Fights Back from the Grave. Look at this cover art. Absolutely amazing. It's literally Bruce Lee coming out of his grave and punching this strange bat creature with a human head, and this random girl just watching. I love the cemetery. I even love the tagline, "You can't keep a good man down." No, you sure can, I guess. And then over here with the font, I love that, the dragon. Just such an awesome cover. I mean, just look at Bruce Lee. Look at the way his fist is and just that strange creature. Man, I love this cover. The next one I have here is an absolute favorite of mine. Dolls. Such a classic image. I find that even people who haven't seen this movie seem to recognize this artwork. What I always found interesting about this cover is that, this doll here with the missing eyeballs doesn't actually appear in the movie. There's a scene similar to this with another character removing her eyeballs, but it's not this actual doll. So I don't really know why they used this for the cover art, but either way, it works. An absolute classic. Next, we have another classic, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2. This is, of course, the Breakfast Club spoof cover. What's funny about this is when I was younger, I had no idea what a spoof was, I guess. And for some reason, I always thought that the Breakfast Club copied the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2. I would recognize that both of these covers were similar, obviously. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre family here is mocking the Breakfast Club, but in my adolescent mind, as a horror fan, I always just assumed that the Breakfast Club was copying the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So, funny little story there, I guess, but just, I don't know, such a funny cover. I mean, it's definitely a horror movie, but there are a lot of comedy elements in this sequel, as most of you are aware. Those of you who have seen it would probably agree. And it just sort of fits, it's classic cheesiness. It's almost a spoof of the first movie. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2 is definitely a more comedic route. Tobe Hooper had said that he knew he wasn't going to top the original, so he had to take it in a different direction. And he definitely did with this. This cover definitely symbolizes that. Here's another one that I know everyone will recognize. Friday the 13th, Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. Now, as much as I love this film, the cover art is probably even better than the movie itself. I've always loved this cover. I could have gone with so many Friday the 13th covers for this video. They just have so many classic images, but I decided to go with Jason Takes Manhattan because this one just always stuck with me more so than the others. I almost went with the final chapter, that image of the knife in the eye of Jason's mask, but Manhattan takes it for me just slightly over that one. I love the image of Jason over the city. I love how the knife is sort of, coming toward you in a way. I love the color scheme with the blue and the red. I just love how his mask looks. This was always one of my favorite covers growing up, and it still is to this day. And my fifth and final Fave 5 for this video goes to Funland. Look at that cover. This is another one I always remembered seeing in the video store. That clown is scary. I mean, look at that. Now, this cover is definitely misleading because the movie is not scary at all. It's definitely more of a comedy than it is a horror film. It's not even slightly a horror film. It's strange. You know, it was always found in the horror section, but yeah, it's far from that. But this cover alone almost makes it horror related. I mean, look at that. It is terrifying. It is probably my favorite clown cover out of anything ever. In fact, this cover of Funland always sort of made me enjoy the movie probably more than I should, because the film is not all that great, but I still find it entertaining, and a lot of that is due to this clown. They say you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, but we all do, and we all judged horror VHS by the covers. You know, we saw these great covers and we rented the movie, even though we knew it probably wouldn't be as good and probably wouldn't live up to the image on the box. And this one certainly does not. We still gave it a shot, and many times we found hidden gems and movies that became part of us, you know, became part of our upbringing, became very nostalgic for us, and that's definitely the case with Funland for me. One of my all-time favorite VHS covers. So that's it, guys, for my Fave 5 VHS covers. As I mentioned earlier, please feel free to comment below and recommend some future categories. These are just a random 5 favorites, but I love them. What do you think? Comment below and let me know. Thanks for watching.